Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video.
Well, welcome out to another Friday at Giga-Texas. It is the 23rd of August, 2024, and a lot of activity going on today, despite the fact that it's a production down day, and that's really not slowing progress at all. Now, for the intro, just a couple of random thoughts as I think about the site, what you're going to see today. Some things are pretty interesting. Starting off over on the east side at that multi-level parking garage, the east ground floor has got this kind of fence-like structure erected around it. Now, I'm not really sure what's going on, but it's possible that new product testing is underway here at Giga-Texas, and this could be one of the areas that they are using. So pretty neat, and considering that 10/10 or October 10th is coming up, it's neat to see that this level of testing potentially is underway. Now, a couple other things just think about today. First of all, over by the chiller plant on the southeast side of the extension, they are installing a lot of test pumps and pipes. So this may indicate that they're getting ready to start testing that chiller plant, which is instrumental for the supercomputer cluster. Nearby on the ground, they're installing forms and rebar for a large concrete apron that's going to span the distance between the extension and that new chiller plant. So that's pretty neat as well. On the south end of the extension, the tunnels are continuing to be completed. All of the concrete work, for the most part, is also completed. And now they're starting grade work in between the tunnels. Eventually, they will be buried, and then we'll probably see a paving going across this area to connect the southwest and southeast sides. On the west side of the extension, two very interesting things I want to point out. First, with this image on the inside at the tunnel exit, they are now constructing a steel form or framework around that end of the tunnel. This will be part of the facing structure that will allow it to be used to transport vehicles from this side of the site underneath the central highway over to the outbound lot. Now, nearby here on this image, this is right next to where the old southwest exterior wall was located. Also, recently there was a temporary platform, and this is also near where the Cybertrucks exit the factory for the first time. You'll note that there is paving underneath this section, and it's kind of designed almost like a funnel. That's not a mistake or an accident. What I'm hearing is that this is going to be used for the Model Ys to enter into the factory after exiting at their end of line, or the old end of line site just north of the west entrance. They'll go through here, and they will also use the tunnel. So in addition to Cybertrucks, we will see the Model Ys using the tunnel as well. Now, why would they do this? Well, part of the reason is that the drive underneath the south bridge is longer, but also it's possible for debris from the highway to be knocked off and onto the road underneath, and it would be kind of a bad happenstance to damage a vehicle that's brand new driving through that area. So it looks like the reconfiguration work for the final parts of the end of line is well underway. Now, moving across the highway over at the material staging yard, I just want to show you this image. This is of those transformers that we've been talking about. About a week or two ago, there were 52 of them. Today, there are now 72. So they continue to stockpile more transformers. Now, some people have asked, could this be for another Megapack site? Not really sure about that, but here is a comparison image of the current Megapack site and transformers, and what the transformers in the material staging yard looks like. So I'll let you judge, and let me know in the comments what you think. There is a lot more to see in the video today, so without further ado, let's get in the drone, let's fly around, and we'll talk while I'm flying and see what's going on at Giga-Texas today. As always, thank you for watching. Have a great weekend.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. Well, good morning from the east side of Giga-Texas, looking back towards the city of Austin. And I wanted to start here and look at the multi-level parking garage, or parking garage, since some of my viewers do not like the term multi-level parking garage, although that is accurate. We'll take a look at the fencing that has been placed on the east side ground floor, and basically from that driveway, as you can tell, all the way over to this side, and it wraps around to the south side as well. Now, it's hard to tell for sure why they are doing this, but it is possible that they are using this to conduct some sort of new product testing and do so out of view. So anyway, it's a pretty neat development here, and a great view across the garage with that downtown Austin in the background. So I'm going to maneuver around here and take a look at this intersection where eventually Robotic Avenue and River Road will meet. And we'll follow the River Road extension on the bottom left of the screen over the Glass Company workshops and get closer to the south extension. There's a lot of activity here on this east side and southeast corner, so I'm going to take some time and show you. First, we'll zoom in and look at the cooling plant, the pipes and other equipment that is being installed on the ground floor. They've also been doing work on the fan units in the last few days. And here with the blue and green pipes, also pumps and the blue flexible connections, they are doing some sort of testing, possibly cleaning out of the cooling system water pipes that run throughout the whole area, and generally just beginning the process to get this ready for operation. This also tells us that most of the permanent pipes have now been installed from the extension on the right to the cooling plant on the left. In addition to that, on the ground, a new section of a concrete kind of an apron is being prepared. We see there's formwork and rebar, and I'll give you some closer views momentarily. Here's a great view of this temporary setup with the pumps, generators, and the blue and green pipes. Of course, they're connected into the new pipes in the manifold that's on the ground floor. Here is a closer look at that rebar and formed section and how it bridges across this area. This is also directly over where those large brown water pipes connect from the plant into the south extension. And as I maneuver the drone around, a great different view looking down at the ground of all of that work that is underway. Of course, the asphalt has been recently placed, and I will bring the drone down lower so you can get a good view of what this area looks like from this vantage point. Again, the work on the ground floor is really well seen here, and how it is just about ready for their testing. That concrete section, again, the temporary pipes and pumps on the middle of the screen, that parking garage in the background. And as I maneuver the drone to the left, a good view into the second floor. Some more of the ductwork that is being installed. And on the ground floor, where we can see those manifolds, the plate type heat exchangers, all in that red and silver, and more of the interior walls. As I continue to pan the drone back to the south end, a good look at the activity here with the 3 tunnels. All of them have had, for the most part, all of the concrete poured, and this middle section is just some of the last bits of platforms, scaffolding, rebar, and other materials that was used for the construction. And as I pan back, this will give you a kind of a context of where these tunnels are in relation to that cooling plant and that asphalt that we see. Now, I believe that they are going to complete the grade all the way across this south end so it's level with both the southeast and southwest corners, and then it will be paved on top of these tunnels. This is a good view of some of that grade work that is now underway that will eventually bury these 3 tunnels. And if you haven't heard, or if you haven't watched some of my recent videos, the purpose of these tunnels, I have been told, are for personnel exit from the factory. It's part of a code requirement based on the size of the facility and the number of workers, and they need to have that to be able to exit safely. Now, we do see this kind of a roadway set up and a kind of a makeshift intersection right where that front end loader just went by, and it leads into the south extension on the ground floor, and a good view here of where the materials would be delivered, and also the work that is being done to install what looks like elevator systems and some additional interior structures through this kind of a southwest entranceway. There is work being done by crews on the parapet wall in this area, and it may be getting ready to also start installing more of the glass. As I zoom in, it's a really great view of that upper mezzanine, how it is looking right now, the equipment, pipes, and heat exchangers on the section right below that mezzanine, the work that's being done on the second floor. Of course, all of these manifolds where the cooling water comes through and will cool the Cortex supercomputer section. And then here on the ground floor, as I zoom in, a great view of that tunnel with that steel structure being put in around it. This will be part of that facing structure, and then the rest will be asphalted when it's completed, and that will proceed around to the left behind that interior wall that we see under construction and the steel studs. And there will be another entrance that you can just tell on the left-hand side of the screen now that's being paved. And this is where Model Y is coming in from the north side of the General Assembly, just on the left-hand side of the screen, will enter into this part of the building, and then they will be able to access that tunnel and then drive underneath the central highway over to the outbound lot. And I'll try to maneuver down lower and zoom in so you can kind of get a sense of what this area will look like. And if you pay attention on the top, you can tell where that tunnel is located, the ground that has not had the paving yet, but that will be added very soon. And then as I come up, I'll pan the drone back to the south just for one last look on the inside of the south extension. Thought I would bring the drone up over the roof and take a look at the progress that is being made with finishing out the weatherproof membrane on the extension. That large gray area is directly over the Cortex supercomputer center, and this grouping of wires or cables that run the length of the parapet wall and then enter into this part of the building is what will be providing power, and that connects all the way to the north to the electrical switch yard. So anyway, a good view of how the roof section looks. I'm going to bring the drone up, pass over the power lines, and head over the Colorado River to take a look at the work that is being done as part of the Sand Hill Energy Plant lateral extension project that I talked about in depth on my previous video. And here they have the kind of the tap-off point where all of the vehicles are parked at the bottom of the screen, and then the pipe will follow along where they're starting to lay it out now, and they will be using horizontal drilling to go underneath the highway. And I'll continue to follow this around so you get a really good view of not only the current situation with the installation of this natural gas pipe, and also its location to the south of the Colorado River in context of the south end of Giga-Texas. And then as we continue to fly towards the Central Highway, and we can see that orange on the ground, that's where the horizontal drilling will go underneath the highway, and it will exit on this side of the highway where they are continuing to lay out more of the pipe. And where all of the vehicles are located is where that horizontal drill is right now. And then it will continue underneath the Colorado River, which is where all of the trees are, and then extend all the way along the length of the highway to Tesla Road, and then there will be a terminal that is under construction now for that natural gas pipeline. As we cross over the Colorado River again, we'll look back at the main factory just to give you that orientation of where we are right now. That bridge with the roadway underneath, that's River Road. That's that area we talked about in the intro of why they want the tunnel, so that they don't drive the vehicles through here and risk things coming off of the highway and following onto the vehicles. It's a great view of the West Support Facility with that West Warehouse on wheels, the material staging yard, which we'll come back to here in a moment. And I wanted to get an update on this triangular section and what is going on here. Now, one of the things I noticed on the bottom right is that kind of that metal platform that was part of the boring company tunneling operations has been removed. We see more equipment on the left-hand side of the screen. A lot of these steel items being laid out here. Still waiting to confirm what this is being used for, but there will be a large project very soon in this west side. And then additional work clearing the land and more trees to eventually replace that pond and reclaim that entire area. And as we cross back over these lower power lines, I'll bring the drone down, and I wanted to give you a good look at this material staging yard. There are some new developments that I want to point out to you. First, these blue and white items I still believe are part of a smaller stamping press that will eventually be installed into the factory. And I've been monitoring this for quite some time to be able to show you where that will be. As we continue to move towards the north, past the workshops on the left where pipes are manufactured, and these blue and white items next to these containers, which is part of a ventilation and filtration system for the data center, I wanted to show you these transformers. Now, the last time I was here, there were 52 transformers. They've now increased them by 20 more, so there are 72 here. And I've had some people ask if this might be related to a new Megapack installation. I can't say for sure. I did give you that comparison in the video introduction, but nevertheless, the need for a lot of transformers, a lot of electrical power, and a lot of supporting infrastructure to make sure that that Cortex supercomputer data center that is being installed in the extension has enough power, and all of this is most likely related to that installation. As I proceed back over the West Warehouse on wheels, I wanted to show you the progress with not only the boring company tunnel on this side of the highway, but also the land clearing that is part of that natural gas pipeline and its current situation. And this is a great view of what it looks like here today. Now, I've had people ask what will happen with the tunnel versus the natural gas pipeline. Looking at the site plan documents again, the gas pipeline will actually go underneath the tunnel here through this area where we see it's being graded and cleared. So that work is definitely underway. In addition to that, we see that trench in the upper right and the concrete vaults. It looks like some power conduit is being extended through this area, and that continues the installation for this entire section that we saw over the last year. It was put on hold while the boring tunnel was dug. As I continue to maneuver around this face of the tunnel, the big things that we see is all of the concrete blocks are removed. Most of the structure that was used for the tunneling operation has been removed. More excavation work. And similar to what we saw in the south extension, I expect another facing structure to be constructed here so that this end of the tunnel can be operational as well. As I pan the drone up, a great view of that excavation where that conduit will come through and how this clearing looks right now, heading to the north along the east side of the end-of-line facility. Flying over this clearing, I wanted to show you the current situation with the outbound lot. There are a lot of Cybertrucks here today, and even though production is not really happening, there is activity with preparing all of these vehicles for shipping. We do see a lot of Model Ys as well, both on the west and east sides here, and a good view of all of these vehicles that are being prepared for shipping. Some of the truck transports are waiting here as well for use and picking up the vehicles later today and through the weekend. A great view of this north lot with even more Cybertrucks, and these are all in the process of being prepared to go through the end-of-line facility, the final checkouts, and then moved into the outbound lot for shipping. So anyway, it definitely looks like the Cybertruck production line is quite healthy and continues to pump out a lot of the vehicles. In addition to that, we see those Model Ys as well. The end-of-line facility from the north end is quite busy as well. All of the vehicles are lining up to go in for that processing, and that includes the Model Ys even here on a Friday. So I'm going to maneuver the drone around and we'll proceed up to the north and take a look at some more activity that is underway. See more of that natural gas pipeline being laid out following the path right next to this material staging yard with the two tents. And as you can tell, it continues off to the north through the tree belt section. We see a lot more of the clearing and preparation work in addition to laying out all of the pipes in this section. While I'm here, I wanted to take a look at the Evapco fan units, bases, and some of the ductwork. We do see some additional pipes that have been delivered. And in addition to that, here in the middle of the screen, and I'll try to give you a closer look, we see many pipe segments and sections. And these will be parts of systems that would be used for making connections in the pipes. And again, all of the Evapco units still waiting here for their time for installation. As I continue to fly to the north, looking to the south, good view of all of the steel that is being stockpiled here in this material staging location. And again, I have heard that there is some additional construction that will be taking place soon, but I don't have confirmation on that. I'll continue to follow up and let you know once I am sure what is going on. As we come back over to where the natural gas pipeline installation continues, this is where the horizontal drilling took place in that pit underneath Tesla Road, and then it will enter into this other clearing, and that's where that fence is located with that pit. Now this is going to be a kind of a terminal for the natural gas pipelines, and there will be an extensive amount of the pipelines installed here once they are completed. The connection point from here elsewhere is still something I am not sure about. So let's cross over the highway and resume on the other side. From this vantage point, we can see the megapacks, all of the construction that is underway, including underground conduit that feeds the northeast side of the casting from the south side of the electrical switchyard, and of course a great view all the way back to the main factory, the die shop and cathode plant on the left-hand side of the screen. For today, I thought I would continue to fly far to the north just to give you another view and a more recent update of what all the land up here, which is still part of Giga-Texas, looks like. In addition to that, this material staging yard, which continues to house a lot of equipment, some of which is for production lines. Others are casting racks that you can see in the white, and a bunch of other building materials. And I continue to monitor this site to see what will eventually be done. Now, as we pass over the tree, hill, and pond area, we arrive at the part of the land that I call Lone Tree. That's because it has that one single tree in the left-hand side of the screen. This area has also been used for some of the old concrete storage that was dug up and brought up here from the south end before the south extension continued to be constructed. And then, of course, this is the rental equipment lot and repair shop. This is where a lot of the equipment is housed in between use around the site. So we approach into the cathode plant and take a look at the east side. I've had a lot of viewers ask, what is the status of the cathode plant? Is it in operation? Is it being used? What is going on inside? And I wish I could tell you, but I really do not know. Now, we do see a lot of vehicles for employees parked here on this part of the lot, more on the other side and near the die shop. But as far as the actual work that is being done, what they are making, and its operational status, I do not know. I can tell you that the chiller plant is being used. We see that augmentation system on the right with the temporary generators and the chiller units. We see the fans moving. We see that there is work on the heat exchangers, pumps, pipes, and other systems on the roof here on the south end. And occasionally I have seen the vaporizers kind of frosted over, which suggests that there is some use. But it is a very interesting question of what is going on here, and it could be related to the cost of lithium and also some of the battery cathode materials around the world. Maybe that has changed a little bit of Tesla's calculations, but I really don't know. And if I can find out, I will let you know. But for right now, all I can show you is what we can see on the drone from the outside. So we pass over the east warehouse on wheels towards the east parking lot and this water detention pond with some water in it. We can tell that the equipment on the left that's used for the south extension and the cooling system continues to be stored here, although a lot less. We do get a good view here of the helicopter pad and the Rainmaker, that orange device. I've had people ask, do helicopters park here or land here? They have in the past. The Rainmaker is very interesting, as I have been made aware that the end-of-line facility on the west side has built-in Rainmakers inside. So that one here may be extraneous and not needed. As we get closer to these receiving doors, I wanted to show you the work with the rebar forms in preparation for this apron. I've had some viewers say that they think that there's a drainage system that still needs to be installed there before they can put the concrete, so I'll continue to monitor that. Good view of the castings and the racks for the castings along the east side of the casting machine structure today, and a view of the baghouse filtration plant with many of the very large pipes continuing to be installed on that ground floor. This is a great view of this really heavily reinforced concrete section in front of these new receiving doors just on the east side of the casting machine structure. Just on inside of those doors is where the furnaces for melting down aluminum scraps were installed. Now, as I continue to fly over the power lines and bring the drone down, try to give you a better view of what is going on. It does look like there's rails being installed in front of the receiving doors for possibly a mobile bridge crane. And we also still see those steel columns on the left, suggesting that a structure of some sort will be installed here. Great view of the rebar that is being installed with the forms by this part of the structure. As I round the northeast corner, I Wanted to show you that the cables or wires, depending on how you would like to have the terminology, but they are being moved off of these spools and fed into the conduit that runs from this side of the casting machine structure along the ground to the right, and you can see that other open vault and fencing, and then it takes a turn and goes up underneath Tesla Road over to where we've been seeing a lot more conduit being installed that eventually runs to the south end of the switchyard. These temporary cooling units and the pipes and electrical systems looks like this today, and it looks like more work with that manifold going on the inside of one of those receiving doors. And also just a good view here of the north end of the factory and some of the activity that is underway, including this part of the factory where the 4680 cells are manufactured. So that will bring us to an end of the video for today, and also another work week here at Giga-Texas. As always, I hope that you enjoyed the information that I'm able to pass along and the discussion throughout the video. As always, thank you very much for your support. It means the world to me and allows me to keep doing this. And I hope you have a great weekend. Take care.